as a farmer, we get up one morning and you give Argentina, which is our second biggest competition in the world. They're the largest exporters of soybean meal in the world. So I get up one morning, I turn the news on, and you give $20 billion of taxpayer money to my competition. And then the Chinese buy, I think the figure is 30 or 40 containers, ships, which is about 65,000 metric tons per ship, which is like 2.2 million bushels. So they buy 12 or 14 billion dollars worth of soybeans from the Argentinians after the tax holiday. And here's the caveat to it. They give $2.30 over the November board, while I'm getting 50 cents under the November board. So that makes the Argentinian soybeans about $12.42 a bushel. I think that's the real figure they gave. So all my premium went.
Scott, I just lost you there at the end. You said your premiums go.
They all went to Argentina.
This photo of a text between two Trump officials spells out exactly how Trump's $20 billion bailout to Argentina is hurting farmers in red states. Watch.
This photo taken by the Associated Press at the UN last week is amplifying concern. It appears to show a text message to Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent from BR, widely considered to be Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins. The message reads, "We bailed out Argentina yesterday, and in return, the Argentines removed their export tariffs on grains, reducing their price, and sold a bunch of soybeans to China at a time when we would normally be selling to China." The message refers to a potential $20 billion aid package from the Trump administration to help stabilize Argentina's economy. But after that aid package was announced, Argentina suspended its soybean export tax and immediately sold shiploads of soybeans to China, another blow to U.S. farmers. In the message sent to Bessent, BR says, "This gives China more leverage on us."
So we're going to make sure that our farmers are in great shape.
President Trump has suggested some money raised by tariffs could be used to help struggling farmers.
And Trump's big idea to help out these farmers is to do another bailout. But listen to what this Missouri farmer has to say about that. Watch.
I mean, it's crazy when you think about it. We put on tariffs, collect money, and then we take that money, which we've collected from American consumers, including farmers who buy imported goods. We take that money and give it to the industry that's been hurt by those very same tariffs. Seems to me that it would make a lot more sense to get rid of the middleman, drop the tariffs, and again, resume normal trade relations.
So let's recap. Trump bails out Argentina with our U.S. tax dollars. Argentina undercuts American farmers. China wins and rural America loses. Remind me again why they voted for this guy 3 times?
This is the faceless prophet. And family, I'm not sure whether to laugh or cry at this one because yet again, the hypocrisy of Trump's supposed America First agenda is exposed. Get this. While American farmers are struggling to keep their heads above water, Donald Trump just decided to send a $20 billion bailout, not to Kentucky, not to Iowa, but to Argentina. Let me break this down. Right now, America's soybean farmers are in harvest season, the time of year when all that hard work finally pays off. But thanks to Trump's chaotic tariff war, their biggest customer, China, stopped buying U.S. soybeans completely, 0 sales. And just as those soybeans are coming in, guess who swoops in to take America's place? Argentina. China bought 7 million metric tons of soybeans from them, and Argentina dropped its export taxes to sweeten the deal. Talk about kicking U.S. farmers while they're down. But here's the part that'll make your jaw drop. The very next day, Trump's Treasury Secretary, the same one who sat in on Trump's meeting with Argentina's president, announced a $20 billion swap line to support Argentina. That's government speak for a bailout. So Trump tells farmers at home to hang tight, says he'll help them later, and then wires $20 billion overseas to rescue a country that just stole their biggest buyer. That's not America first. That's Argentina first. Even farmers themselves are calling it out. Caleb Ragland, head of the American Soybean Association, said, "We've made 0 sales to China because of these tariffs." Meanwhile, Democrats in the Senate wrote to Trump demanding he stop the bailout, saying it looks like he's trying to prop up his buddy in Argentina before their elections. And maybe that's the point, because while farmers are praying for rain and fair prices, Trump's over here playing global politics with their livelihoods. But the Bible warns us about leaders who serve their own interests while their people suffer. Ezekiel 34:2 says, "Woe to the shepherds of Israel who only take care of themselves. Should not shepherds take care of the flock?" Family, our farmers are the backbone of this country. They feed the world. And they deserve better than to be pawns in a billionaire's trade tantrum. So when Trump says tariffs are making America strong again, remember the farmers losing their land, their markets, and their hope, while Argentina cashes the check. So what do you think? Drop an amen in the comments if you agree with me that American farmers deserve better than broken promises and foreign bailouts. Or drop an ahem if you think it's perfectly fine to save Argentina while our own farmers suffer. This is the Faceless Prophet signing off, and I am praying for America.
Devastating to hear that the president is putting $20 billion into Argentina. And, we don't see that as putting America first, We see it as, contributing to putting farmers out of business. The president's tariffs have hurt America's farmers. The market prices have plummeted. Farmers are facing foreclosure. Suicides are up. Farm foreclosures are up. All these things are up, and the administration has been so far slow to react. And, I just listened to the president and said, well, how about using some of the tariff monies from there? And that's been challenged in court, the president's whole initiative there. And he faced, a couple of decisions that's going to slow that down. That's not a process that we want to go through.
Sure.
During the administration, and this it started a little further back than 5 years ago when the president first announced the tariffs on China. I was selling soybeans for $16.80 a bushel. And then the price immediately plummeted all the way down to $8, and the markets never came back is what's happening. So as China has turned to other countries to buy soybeans from, there isn't any new markets here in America that's helping America's farmers. And just like
John,
you talked about, the input cost going up.
I do want to ask you, I want to go back to what you mentioned about tariff money, because the president says tariffs will hopefully help farmers down the line. That takes time. It could take a year. It could take two. Do farmers have that kind of time?
Absolutely, unequivocally, no. We don't have that type of time. And that's, we're asking the administration. Matter of fact, I'm calling on the president today to stop farm foreclosures in this country and to put a complete farm moratorium in place on direct loans, guaranteed loans, and other private sector banks that make farm loans. America's farmers shouldn't be going under while the president is playing footsies with tariffs. This isn't an act of God that's hurting us. It's these policies and the president's tariffs that's really hurting America's farmers.
Hi guys, this is Tiana and you're watching Tiana's React. So while American farmers are drowning in debts, losing lands and begging for relief, Trump is sending billions of US taxpayers' dollars across the ocean. The fields are drying, the silos are empty, and yet Washington is bailing out everyone but the people who fed the nation. This isn't leadership, guys, it's betrayal dressed as patriotism. What do you think, guys? Well, let's dive in and see people's opinions to this. But before we move in, please do well to like, share, and of course, subscribe to keep the channel moving.
Trump supporters, what do you think about giving Argentina $20 billion this week and then them turning around and reducing the export tax and selling soybeans to China and farmers begging for help? Please drop your comments below.
Donald Trump imposes tariffs on China. So China stops buying soybeans from American farmers. China, who was the #1 customer of American farmers regarding soybeans. Trump then turns around and gives $20 billion to Argentina. China, who stops buying soybeans from American farmers because Donald Trump is imposing tariffs with no purpose other than to punish China. China then turns around and goes and buys soybeans from the very country that Donald Trump just gave $20 billion to rescue. Trump took money and business out of American farmers and American taxpayers and gave it to Argentina so that Argentina can do business with China and make the money that the American farmers would have been making had Donald Trump not imposed these ridiculous tariffs on China. But Trump is still making America great. What the fuck?
Hey there, MAGA. How you doing? Did y'all see this here? Thought it was America first, wasn't it? I thought we weren't supposed to be giving billions of dollars to other countries, except for, Israel, so they can keep blowing up brown children with our bombs. But aside from that, I thought we were supposed to be keeping all of our money for Americans. I mean, we're certainly keeping all of our soybeans for Americans, since they're now worthless because bankruptcy Benito decided to fuck up our biggest trade partner for them. Now they're buying them from Brazil and Argentina instead of American farmers. Those same American farmers that are now going bankrupt because all of you dumb motherfuckers have the economic literacy of a 10-year-old with a credit card in Toys R Us. Even though you pudding brain troglodytes saw how stupid tariffs were the last time you elected the dumbest thing to ever slip through a condom to the Oval Office. And now your little mango molester is giving this knob goblin $20 billion of our dollars to bail out Argentina's economy. The same Argentinian alt-right libertarian loser who just lifted tariffs on China so they could sell them 20 shiploads of their soybeans. So China can get the cheap soybeans that they used to buy from us. So what say you little toothless pedophile-loving cousin fuckers, huh? Where's that America First energy now? Just seems kind of strange that after all that America First patriotic preaching bullshit, saying that we just couldn't afford to support American farmers with USAID because we were giving stuff away for free to starving children, are now chomping at the bit to bail out Argentinian farmers. And for all you MAGA voting farmers, maybe you should go check out some farmland down there, because clearly the dipshit you dumbasses decided to vote for will take much better care of you if you're an Argentina. And don't worry about your property here. JD Vance is already with a nice low offer to pay pennies on the dollar for your bankrupt family farm. But hey, since conservatives have also crashed the economy so bad in Argentina too that they need an American bailout, I'm sure you can find some cheap land and it'll all work out.
U.S. taxpayers are bailing out Argentina with $20 billion, and it mostly benefits one well-connected GOP billionaire while hurting American farmers. Back in 2023, Elon Musk tweeted this after the country elected right-wing populist Javier Milei as president. Just 2 years later, Argentina found itself begging the US for help after taking a chainsaw to its economy, much like Musk did here, leaving the country in crisis. So US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent announced a $20 billion package to rescue their economy, which has almost no impact on the US. I thought Trump was supposed to be America first, but Bessent's announcement did have a huge benefit for one American billionaire hedge fund manager, Rob Citron, a close friend of Bessent's and the co-founder of Discovery Capital Management. Citron has invested heavily in Argentina's right-wing economic program, and just days before the bailout announcement, he purchased even more Argentine bonds. So thanks to US taxpayers, this billionaire's precious investments are protected amid a downturn, and his profits will get a boost. And guess what else? Leaked texts from Bessent's phone show the US may have gotten played, as right after the deal, Argentina removed export taxes on soybeans and struck a trade deal with China, which immediately pulled out of existing soybean arrangements with American farmers. In the end, our tax dollars will help the right-wing Argentina government, China, and this one billionaire friend of Bessent's.
American farmers have destroyed themselves by voting for this Trump regime. Their hate for so many groups of people that they have learned to demonize allowed them to vote themselves out of business by voting for Donald Trump and today's MAGA Republicans. I don't know what else to say. We already know how the American soybean farmer was decimated. This fall, China, their biggest customer, placed exactly 0 orders for soybeans from American farmers because of Donald Trump's regime's tariffs. They went to Brazil. We all saw the videos of the farmers crying in Arkansas, I believe it was. Please, Mr. President, we love you, but come save us. Oh, you guys, it just gets so much worse. So you know how our $20 billion in taxes, yours, Mr. Farmer, and mine, was just snatched from us and given to the leader of Argentina to help keep their version of Donald Trump in power? Your 20 billion and my 20 billion? This was screenshot on our Department of Treasury's cell phone from our Department of Agriculture. Ready? Finally, just a heads up, I'm getting more intel, but this is highly unfortunate, the text said. We bailed out Argentina yesterday, and in return, the Argentines are removing their export tariffs on grains, reducing their price, and sold a bunch of soybeans to China at a time when we would normally be selling to China. Soy prices are dropping further because of it. This gives China more leverage on us. And he responds, Besant responds, on a plane, Scott, but I'll call you when I land. You guys voted for this. The Democrats who y'all hate so much, you've been programmed to hate your fellow neighbor, your family members. You guys voted for this. We warned all of you because we're not in a cult. We could see how these decisions affect businesses, affect our farmers. We were fighting for farmers, telling you don't vote for this, and you voted for this. Your tax dollars, this Trump administration just used to fuck you even further. Mr. Soybean farmer and grains. This affects a lot of other farmers, not just soybean farmers. Anybody who harvests and sells grains to China. Here you go.
Well, like we talked earlier, we went from 12 billion to zero. And then, as a farmer, we get up one morning and you give Argentina, which is our second biggest competition in the world. They're the largest exporters of soybean meal in the world. So I get up one morning, I turn the news on, and you give $20 billion of taxpayer money to my competition.
I wonder how it fucking feels to scream all election cycle, America first, America first, America first, just for the man that you elected simply because he wasn't going to give any money to foreign nations, looks at you and says, you're a farmer, that's okay. I'm going to bankrupt the fuck out of you by tariffing the shit out of China, causing them to buy soybeans from your biggest competitor, Argentina. And then while you guys are filing active bankruptcy because China is not buying your soybeans, I am going to turn around and instead of bailing you guys out, I am going to send a $20 billion check to your competitor, Argentina. What was that again about not wanting money to go to foreign nations? And then Donald Trump looks you in your bankrupting eyeballs and says, anyways, no bailout for you. We're going to give money to a foreign nation. And that foreign nation happens to be your competitor. I don't even understand how angry you must be to sit there and be that lied to. And then just there's nothing you could do about it, which is kind of diabolical to me because you guys did go through this the first term of his first term. And you said, let's do it again. America first, baby. give me a follow Mercedes Chandler something. Face again. Bye.
Hey, Mainers, President Trump is giving a $20 billion bailout to Argentina. There's at least 3 reasons this is kind of a staggering piece of news. And the third is the toughest to swallow. First, because a $20 billion bailout of another country is the opposite of President Trump's America First philosophy. Second, because President Trump's Treasury Secretary has said openly that the bailout is because Argentina's president, who is an ally of President Trump's, needs a, quote, bridge to the election. His economy is falling apart and his party was just crushed in local elections, so the president's own re-election prospects are in trouble. So President Trump is openly giving Argentina $20 billion of our tax dollars to help his friend win re-election. And somehow that's not even the most startling part of this. The third reason this is staggering is because President Trump's trade war has resulted in China no longer purchasing American soybeans. Literally, China hasn't purchased a single soybean from the U.S. in the last 2 months and has not placed a single order for U.S. soybeans for the coming peak harvest season. Of the $24.5 billion worth of soybeans that the U.S. farmers exported last year, China bought more than half of them, $12.5 billion worth. This is killing U.S. farms, and farmers are feeling panicked and betrayed.
Mr. Trump, you looked at me, sir, and you said, I love you. Mr. Trump, I need to see the fruit of your love.
I just would like to see somebody help us get our markets back. We need our exports, and we just need to be paid for what we do.
But guess who is selling soybeans to China? Argentina. The 3 biggest soybean producers in the world are the US, Brazil, and Argentina. And last week, Argentina's president, President Trump's ally, slashed its export tax on soybeans to 0. He's taking advantage of China shutting out American soybeans and making it easier for Argentinian farmers to sell their soybeans to China while American farmers are getting screwed. It is indisputable. President Trump is propping up a guy who is helping crush American soybean farmers.
I keep trying to make this video under 3 minutes, but it's important for me to make sure that all the details are here. There's some breaking news in that Scott Bessent received a text message from the agricultural secretary during the UN meetings, and the Associated Press snapped a picture of that text message over his shoulder. And what it did was it shone a light on the ineptitudes of this administration and the people that this administration puts in charge of keeping this country running smoothly. See, what happened was Donald Trump and Scott Bessent gave Argentina a $20 billion bailout with your tax dollars and mine because of their slumped economy just ahead of the election. So as soon as that $20 billion was in the president's hand of Argentina, they dropped all of the tariffs and taxes on grain export, and China bought 20 boatloads of soybeans from Argentina. Now, these are sales that Argentina would never have had because China bought soybeans from American farmers up until this whole tariff war. So the president of Argentina, Milei, is a good friend of Donald Trump's. So basically, the text message that was on Scott Bessent's phone from the agricultural secretary said, "You're not going to believe what Argentina just fucking did," and sent him a link to an X account that was talking about it. And it was an X account owned by Ben Scholl, who's a grain expert. And he said China and Argentina work together for soybeans as Bessent offers to subsidize the Argentine economy. They think you are stupid. You meaning the United States government, Donald Trump, Scott Bessent, and every other Trumpy sycophant who will do anything to please that man. Let me break it down. Argentina gets $20 billion of your tax dollars and my tax dollars, while Americans can't afford groceries or gas. Farmers are sinking. Their farms are failing. They can't feed their kids. The same people who called us communists and socialists are standing at the White House with their hand out, begging for a socialist handout because their farms have gone under thanks to this administration. And then after Argentina gets that $20 billion, they turn around, drop the tariffs and the taxes for China to buy up all of Argentina's soybeans, blocking out the American farmers from soybean sales to China completely. So we got like quadruple fucked in the entire deal, and we're out $20 billion. Meanwhile, homeless veterans still exist. Veterans can no longer afford their medication for their cancer treatments, and the government's telling them, oh well, die off. They lived an honorable life. And American red hats are still pretending like nothing is wrong. Their egos have them refusing to admit that this man is driving our economy into the ground. It is a series of steps like these over the next few years that is going to tank our economy and put more Americans out of jobs and out of homes. Told you so.
So guys, when you hear them talk about America first, ask them which America are they talking about, because it sure isn't the one sweating in the fields, praying for rain and watching their livelihood collapse. Farmers don't need speeches, they need help, and the man who promised to fight for them just sold them out. They are furious, guys. They are really furious. Who won't be? Well, if you've made it this far, thank you for watching. Please do well to like, share, and of course subscribe to keep the channel moving. Till next time.